Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In the last video, I had explained a bit about the Masters in Management admission requirements. Starting from this video, I'll give you clear insights about the application process of a specific school. So in today's video, I will talk about ESCP, which is the school I am currently studying at. So let's have a look into the details of the process. So for ESCP, there are two ways to apply. The first route being the SAI route. So what exactly is this SAI route? For that you need to stay tuned till my next video, where I will explain in detail about how you apply to ESCP through the SAI admission process. For the purpose of today's video, we will look at the second route to apply to ESCP, which is called the Global Admission Test or the Direct Route. So these are the different names to indicate this process. So let's have a look into the details of what exactly is needed to apply through this direct route and what are the usual admission procedures and stuff. So first up, let's have a look at the admission requirements here. So you would definitely need an SOP, a statement of purpose. As most of you understand, it is that document where you explain clearly what motivates you to apply to this particular school, this particular program, and why you are a very good fit for the program. It is very important to craft your SOP in such a way that the school really understands your motivations, so that you have a great chance of getting through to the interview process. Number two, there are 3 essays actually. In the year I applied, there are 3 particular essays which were required as part of the application process. The first essay was about international experience. So it goes like, comment on your most significant international experience. So if you have been on a semester abroad, if you have been on an exchange abroad, or if you have made a short trip abroad, you can use all these experiences to kind of cover the knowledge and exposure you've gained through this international trip or experience. However, there were a few students who told me, I have never had this opportunity to go abroad. I have not been fortunate to go abroad. So what should I do? So for cases like that, I have a few suggestions which you can use to explain your international exposure. So say you worked in a company where you had a lot of exposure to international clients, you can use this as a good example to link to your international experience. Or if you have learned a few foreign languages and have had cultural exposure to foreign people, you can also talk a little bit about this to say that you understood the thought process of how people from different cultures and regions think. So these are some of the suggestions for the first essay, which is on international experience. So moving on to question number 2, it is about your most significant work experience. So I have one point to mention here. You have to be really careful about this. Just talk about one particular experience and your learnings out of it. So it is very important to not mention multiple experiences, as it could probably lead to a direct rejection. So what kind of things could you emphasize in this essay? I would suggest you to use the STAR format I've already talked about in the previous video, which is basically situation, task, action and result. So talk about what kind of situations you handled, were you involved in a team setting, what kind of achievement and results you managed to achieve. So these are some things you could emphasize on in this essay. And what was the process you utilized to do all this? Did you do some analysis? Did you use a lot of technology and data related subjects? So all these things could be properly collaborated and mentioned in this particular essay. And finally, the third essay is a very open-ended thing. It's generally about extracurriculars. So here you can talk about, the clubs you are involved in college. If you're the head of some particular club in college and you initiated an event, things like this. Or if you have done a course on finance on some online course platform, you could also talk about this. Or any kind of leadership experience. If you have initiated an NGO activity, or if you have been part of an NGO activity, it is important to mention about all those things. So very important that you also don't just talk about what you did, but also mention what exact impact you made, so that the college can clearly understand what difference you made in the project. So these are the 3 essay questions. So we have the SOP and the 3 essays, and then the letter of recommendation is usually optional in the direct route. So you can upload one LOR or two LORs if you want to. So it's generally again a third party evaluation, so you can get it from your immediate supervisor at work or your academic professor. So just mention clearly how they were involved with you, in what capacity, and also it is very important they kind of project a holistic picture of whatever you've done, highlight your strengths, and probably even mention one or two areas of improvement, so that it kind of becomes a balanced letter of recommendation. So if you are able to do all this, the letter of recommendation should be fine. So this is the third requirement. And of course, as always, you have the GMAT, GRE or the CAT score. So you need to submit this as part of the admission requirements. So IELTS, it's good if you have one, IELTS or a TOEFL score, but ESCP will usually waive it off if you're an Indian applicant, because they understand you've done your medium of studies in English across your schooling as well as your bachelor's degree. So these are the things to note with respect to application requirements. So what usually happens is you apply online through the application portal, and once they review your application, they shortlist you for an interview. And very important thing to note here, it will be a Skype interview. So make sure that you have your internet connection properly sorted when you do the Skype interview. And it's usually a 20 to 30-minute interview. So I attended this direct interview process. So what kind of questions can you expect at the interview? Yeah, the setup is like an interview. I just wanted to give you the interview feel actually. I attended this interview process at ESCP. So it was a Skype interview for me, and here are a few insights that could potentially help you during this interview. There were very specific questions on the CV, so be very clear about whatever activities you include on your CV. So they'll try to drill down into the details sometimes. And apart from this, there were a few general questions as to why France, why Masters in Management, why particularly ESCP. So for this ESCP Connect, I think you can use a few points I suggest right now, which are very unique to ESCP. So the multi-campus experience. So as part of the MIM program, you'll have to move around, study in Paris, Berlin, Madrid, or London. So this multicultural experience is definitely something which is a big USP for ESCP. And of course, they have these very niche specializations in Internet of Things and entrepreneurship. I think these are some of the things you can emphasize for the reasons to choose ESCP. And there were also a few trick questions, like just to put you on the spot. So these are kind of questions just to test you under stress. So if you don't know the answer, be honest about it. If you know the answer, just give a proper reasoning and it should be fine. So be clear on what are your unique selling points and focus on those things when you answer these kind of questions. And then in the end, they ask you if you have any specific questions. So research a bit about the coursework you want to do or about the campuses and come up with insightful questions so that you stand apart from the crowd. So once you're done with the interview, after a few days, they give you the admission results. I was very fortunate to get a scholarship as well. I hope a few of you people can also go through this process and end up with a scholarship. Any other specific doubts, do drop a comment in the section below and I'll definitely get back to you. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll explain about the SAI process to get into ESCP. Have a great day. If you like the video, do share it on social media and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.